Let's translate some infix expressions to prefix notation. Please read the directions and be sure to show all steps in Scratch work, especially on this beginner worksheet. The first exercise, we're given a regular math infix expression where the operators, these two plus symbols, they are inside the operands that they work with. The binary operator plus needs two operands, the 9 and the 2, for example. Well, the first step in my advice is to add parentheses following the order of operations to this infix expression. So the first step that you would follow according to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the order of operations, would be to work from left to right and do the first plus operator, first addition operator first. So I'm adding the set of parentheses right here around the 4 and the 9. The next and only other step to do in this exercise is to add that 2. So I'm putting an outer set of parentheses, slightly larger than the inner set, just to keep track of what matches with what. And there I go. I fully parenthesized the given infix expression. So as directed here by these instructions, I'm going to carefully rewrite it on this line for the instructor to grade. Counting all the left parentheses, 2 of them, and that should match the number of right parentheses, 2. So I didn't accidentally make a mistake when copying. Next, we need to get a final answer of that is in prefix notation. So the next step is to go to that inner set of parentheses and translate this 4 plus 9 infix inner sub-expression to the correct prefix notation equivalent. So we take this plus, actually we take all the operands and we list them, a little space here because that 4 and the 9 are separate operands. It's not the number 49. And listed from left to right, the 4 and 9 written correctly, this plus must go in front of those 2 operands. Do not get sloppy and write the 9 and then the 4 and then the plus, because 9 plus 4 is not necessarily equivalent to 4 plus 9. For the purposes of this worksheet, as well as prefix notation, as well as writing compiler software in computer science, it's very, very strict. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you might not understand, having to do with memory addresses on a computer. And just because you might happen to know that addition is typically considered commutative, that doesn't mean that you have the right in an exercise like this to change 4 plus 9 into 9 plus 4. That's just sloppy, and actually it's incorrect, and you would lose a point on the ACSL test. Anyway, I have now converted the 4 plus 9 to plus 4, 9. So I'm going to show my work and rewrite that little mini expression inside there. Sorry about that. So I'm going to rewrite it right here as plus 4, 9. And I will keep those parentheses there for now and rewrite everything else. So this step isn't really very accurate in the sense that somebody looking at this wouldn't know what the heck it is, because it's a little bit of prefix and a little bit of infix mixed. But because we're the person doing this exercise, we can keep track of ourselves. I'm writing these equal symbols because I like to line things up. So next we have this chunk that I'm circling here right now, which is an operand, followed by an infix operator plus, followed by another operand. So I'm going to list the two operands, the only two things I have left. I'm going to list them in order. And that operator, the plus, again, I'm going to put it pre in front of the two operands. I'm going to put it out there. This outer set of parentheses, I'm just going to rewrite that to be very clear and complete in my scratch work. And finally, I'm finished. There was nothing else to convert from infix to prefix, so I'm finished. But the beauty of prefix and postfix, for that matter, is that it does not need parentheses for people like us to be clear as to what to execute or what to evaluate in what order. It's just self-readable, if that's even a word. It's interpretable one way only without necessary parentheses. So stripping all the parentheses out, I'm rewriting everything with just operators and operands. Now to check the work, one thing that you should probably do is that if you are converting to prefix, your final answer should have an operator at the beginning, and it should end with an operand, and not vice versa, or not two operators at each end and not two operands at each end. In case you do other exercises elsewhere, but not that they're on this worksheet, but if you're given, instead of just an expression, if you're given something like a complete algebraic statement, such as this, you would still have like an equal symbol, but you might have a variable name, somewhere in there instead of just numbers like in this problem. So I just want to be clear, this is an algebraic sentence or statement, and this is just an expression. And we're only doing expressions on this worksheet. Anyway, that is the correct answer to this original problem. Next exercise. A little bit more complicated, and we see a subscript written with a raised exponent, something that you cannot legally see in a final answer to a prefix or postfix notation. We're going to be using this symbol here as our exponent operator when we get to it. So let's fully parenthesize this expression. In exercise 1, there were no original parentheses printed on this paper. But here there are some parentheses. But we have to add some more parentheses to fully parenthesize this expression, particularly because of the two plus symbols, the two addition operators there in that inner 4 plus 9 plus 2 expression. So the first step here, according to the strict order of operations, would be to do the 4 plus the 9 and wait for the plus 2 later. So I'm going to add another set of inner parentheses right there. Next, of course, somebody accurately doing this would execute the stuff that's inside this other set of parentheses that I just highlighted. And then it's very clear you would do the 4 minus 1, which already has a set of parentheses. And then you would be left with just that division. And then you'd be left with whatever that single number is squared. So we are fully parenthesized here. If you wanted to, I guess you could put another outer set of parentheses there around the superscript, the exponent 2. And now you're definitely fully parenthesized. So our next step is to rewrite that on this line provided. I'll add that outer set of parentheses there that some people would probably consider optional. And be very careful here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 left parentheses, followed by the 4 plus the 9, and then so on. So I'm simply copying that scratch work that I have up above, and I'm counting the left parentheses to make sure it matches the right parentheses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left parentheses, and the right parentheses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they match, and I'm good to go as far as proceeding with my final answer of the whole thing written in prefix notation with no necessary parentheses. Okay, so I start from the inner set of parentheses, working from left to right. You see that there's this 4 plus 9 that's an inner set of parentheses, and there's this 4 minus 1. I'm going to be really strict and work from left to right. 4 plus 9. So I'm changing that into plus 4, 9, as explained on an earlier exercise up above. This extra set of parentheses, I'll just leave it in to be clear. I'm rewriting the whole thing. Very annoying to some people, however necessary for full credit if I were your instructor or teacher or professor and the instructions were given as above. Next, I will do the 4 minus 1 and convert that to minus 4, 1. Make sure that you put the 4 and the 1 in that order from left to right. Subtraction is not commutative. You would never be sloppy like that. So I'm rewriting everything to show that one small little step, keeping those parentheses there just to be safe. Next, we have this plus 2 to execute, or to rewrite rather. So that plus comes out here, and there's another plus there. I might have lost some parentheses, I'm not sure. I'm rewriting that 2 roughly underneath the other 2 to be very careful and not overlook anything. Yes, I lost a set of parentheses or 2, or I have an extra set, however you want to look at it. It's not going to matter. I think I can make it here. I'm next. I must rewrite this / the division. The division goes in front of this mess, I'll call it, and this mess. So the / followed by a plus. These numbers 4, 9, and 2 are separate operands. I'm left with some set of parentheses here around this. This is all quantity squared. And I'm running out of scratchwork room. But because prefix notation requires an operator to be used to show exponentiation, you can't raise that to a power with an exponent as a superscript. We show in a prefix notation way this exponent operator out in front of these 2 operands that we have remaining. So this whole expression here, this whole part right here, is one operand. This part is another operand, and that exponent is simply what it takes to raise that 2 up into the superscript exponent position. So I'm rewriting my final answer over here so that the teacher or the person who might be grading an ACSL exam can find the answer in the right format. If you had time, like on a worksheet like this, unlike on an exam where you're under time pressure, you might want to now convert this back to Infix to see if it converts to the original expression. I hope this is correct. Let me know via email. Contact me if it's not a correct answer, but my battery is low, so I'm going to move on more pretty quickly here. Here we go. Whoops, and fully parenthesizing this expression here. Well, I already have sets of parentheses there and there. I need another set of parentheses here because according to order of operations, you do exponents. Please excuse exponents, excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Aunt is for addition. So E is before A. So there are the extra parentheses necessary. Here we go. Rewriting everything for the sake of the teacher that's grading this on the line provided. I hope I have the same number of right parentheses as left parentheses. You can check it. Let me know by email if I don't. And I now start stepping through this, converting first from left to right. This inner set of this inner expression would translate to +7, 5 in prefix. And all of that is being raised to a power. I'm rewriting everything, being very careful not to miss anything when I show scratch work like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I think I'm missing 2 here. Okay, moving on. The 6 minus 4 must be rewritten. And rewriting everything else directly below where I'm writing it, being very careful not to be sloppy. See, especially as a relative beginner, you'll want to be very careful. Next, according to order of operations, working from left to right, you pretty much have to do this, move this exponent operator in front of this expression, and then followed by this expression. So to be really focused, this is being raised to the power of this. That exponent operator comes out prefix out here. I'm left now to rewrite some parentheses. Sorry, I switched colors there by accident. And last of all, I'm left with this +3. I might have extra parentheses. They're going to come out in the wash, as they say. And all of this is one operand. So all of that is having 3 added to it, where the 3 is on the right-hand side. So I have to put the plus pre in front of the 2 operands. And we're left to rewrite all of this on the final answer line without any parentheses. You would never have parentheses in a final answer to a question, especially on the AP exam, where you are converting infix to either prefix or postfix. Showing parentheses would actually be illegal, and you would get it wrong even if they are in some arguable way correctly placed or just extraneous. Now I am going to count the number of operators and operands. Look at this pattern. If you have simple little expressions like this, you will always find that the number of operators is 1 less than the number of operands. The number of operators here in this expression is 1, 2, 3. 3 operators, and the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, the number 4 are operands. So 4 is 1 more than 3. The number of operators, ends with an R, is 1 less than the number of operands. Look at this expression. 2 operands and 1 operator. This expression, 3 operands and 2 operators. So to check your final answer, especially if you're in a hurry, count the number of operators, and that should be 1 less than the number of operands. I'm counting operators right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That 4 is 1 less than, well, let's count the number of operands. 7, 5, 6, 4, 3. That's 5 total operands. And yes, 4 is 1 less than 5. Check. You might want to take the time, especially if it's a worksheet and you have plenty of time, or you have extra time on a test to kill. You'd, as an exercise, you would parenthesize all of this and make sure it matches this infix expression. When you parenthesize it, you would do the reverse of sort of what you've done. You'd switch this +7, 5 to a 7 + 5, add parentheses, and sort of backtrack. Okay, so there are your answers. Let me know if any of these answers look wrong, especially this number 2. And that's the worksheet that you see titled right there in my analysis. Have a great day.